Good afternoon, everyone. This is a Python level 1 class. Usually in my class, I will do a round table introduction. So let me share my screen. Uh, so first, let me introduce myself. I am Xu Zuyang, and this is my email account. I do programming for the last 30 years, more than that. So I like programming very much. So that's why I do a lot of programming, and not only in Python, and I program with Java, JavaScript, .NET, and 80 days like Pascal, Fortran, and the Visual Basic. So I did a lot of programming. I teach in the University of Maryland. I teach the master's degree students. They need to learn how to develop an application. So that's why I teach them programming based on what technology available that time. So I taught like a .NET, taught it ASP, taught it HTML, whatever is good at that moment, and the school needs it. So then I will teach that class. Starting like a couple years ago, and AOE wants me to help the community. So that's why, I joined the program to teach students, the high school students, middle school students, and elementary school students as well, teach them how to program. So that's why I'm here. I'm still teaching in University of Maryland, and I used to teach in Johns Hopkins University, but it's a little bit far to me, so I quit that one. So I only focus on University of Maryland now. So that's in a brief introduction for myself, and I really want you guys to introduce you. So I wanted to know your name, school you go, grade you are at, and why do you want to learn Python? So can we start with Arvin? I know that you have been with me for a while. This is the first time to get you into a scripting language. So I also know that you are on the West Coast. So can you just start and introduce yourself?
My name is Alvin Lee. I go to, I need to ask something. Next year, I'm going to Wilburton Public School, and I'm going to third grade. And I want to learn Python because I finished Roberto.
Yeah, you finished the block programming, right? The block stuff for robotics. Yeah, that's very good. So that's why I suggest you to try Python. Okay, thank you very much, Alvin. So let me get it. Angel, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Angie. I'm going to Richard Montgomery High School next year, and I'm going to ninth grade. And I want to learn Python so I can learn new things and just get more knowledge.
Cool, good. All right, so Hannah.
I'm Hannah. I'm going to McLean High School next year, and I'm going to go to 10th grade. I want to learn Python because I just want to learn more languages and coding, and I'm also taking a course that needs Python next year.
Good. Hopefully this will help you. So how about you, Jack?
I'm Jack. I'm going to go to Consortia High School. I'm going to be in ninth grade, and I want to learn Python to learn new things and to prepare for school.
Very good. Okay, so I know that Python, let me put it this way, Python nowadays is way more popular than any other programming language. I was very proud when I learned how to program with Java, like about 25 years ago. That time, Java just came to the world. So I was proud of that. I learned it and I can program it. And Java became the most popular programming language very quickly. Why? Because it is a platform independent. So it not only runs on the Windows system, they can also run in the mainframe, the Linux, the Unix system, and the Macintosh. So it's so popular. But about like 5 years ago, Python gained more and more traction. In the past, if you know Java, you can find a very good job and you are paid very well. Now, Python gained the popularity. Why? Because it is easy to learn, easy to code, and it is powerful. Why I see that it is powerful? Because a very complicated action, it only needs probably several lines of code. If you do it in Java, probably you need to spend a day or two to write that code. With Python, and you can just write it probably in 1 hour. I taught Java in my class before, and then when I switched to Python, I need to talk about the same thing. Let's say draw a map. So it was like in a 3 hour class, but once it became a Python class, it's like several minutes. Then everything get done. So that is why federal government and the companies, they wanted to use Python because high in the Java developer is expensive. It has a very steep loading curve. Python, probably you learn it for 3 days or 4 days, then you can start coding it. Okay, you can code in an application already. So that is why. So they wanted to save money. So they use Python. As more and more companies use Python, more and more projects using Python. So that's why. So Python developers overpass Java developers. And the Python developers was not paid that great. But now Python developers is paid very well. I know for you guys, you do not care about the salary at this moment at all, but you do care about the technology. And I tell you, you are in the right direction. And why it is in the right direction? Because when we do more and more data analyzing, and the Python is superior to Java, because the Python has a way more library in data analyzing. So that is why. So Python is very useful. But before we get into that, I want you guys to watch a video. Then let me know what you remember about Python or that guy. Okay, anything about that. So let me just go to that video. I think I have it here. Let me just go to it.
I'm Dutch. I grew up in the Netherlands. In fact, I created Python while I was working in the Netherlands. I got a nice job as a programmer at a place called CWI, which is sort of a research lab funded by the government doing advanced math and computer science research. My first job was on a team that worked on a programming language named ABC, and it was a super interesting project, and everything I know about language design, or all my opinions about language design, originate in that project. ABC was eventually unsuccessful, and I moved on to programming on other projects at the same place. The key one was Amoeba, which was a distributed system that was being built collaboratively by CWI and one of the universities in Amsterdam. At some point, I realized every application we have to write in for Amoeba is basically a shell, either a shell script or a C program. And I found that there were downsides to either of those. And I thought, well, I wish there was a third language that was sort of in the middle of those, that felt more like a genuine programming language, like on the C side, but that was perhaps interpreted, easier to use, sort of more concise of expression, like shell scripts, but without the sort of terrible properties in terms of readability of shell scripts. I thought, I can build my own. Building an interpreter is going to take me 2 or 3 months, and I'll win that time back by increased productivity, not just for myself, but for the whole team. Well, those 3 months sort of ballooned to more and more time. I don't think on the Amoeba project, we ever gained that productivity back. Amoeba sort of mostly produced scientific papers. Python slowly became successful. And after about a year, we released it as open source. Actually, we didn't call it open source because those terms had not been invented. And almost immediately, a small community of Python lovers started growing, where people sort of spread the word about Python and sort of started contributing back and critiquing each other's contributions, and sort of let me have the last word about whether I wanted a particular contribution in the language. Last July, I actually resigned my position of BDFL, which is ironic because of the FL standing for life. One imminent change is that Python's own governance structure is changing. The community is currently in the middle of sort of figuring out what the best way is to sort of have governance going forward, which is either going to be another BDFL, although that is the less likely solution. More likely, I see a small committee of people who are committed to Python's success long term. Those people will also be guiding Python's sort of future vision.
All right, so we watched the video. Can you tell me what do you remember? Anything, okay? Anything you remember about the video? So let me start from Jack. So what do you remember? Anything, can be anything. Not have to be Python itself. Jack. So Arvin,
You mean like we can talk like it doesn't mean something about Python?
yeah, anything you remember in the video, can you tell me?
I remember well, it's kind of like I think he's from Seattle
Why?
to be like there's a like I don't know what to call like it's this community like this place where like technology like people can like 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 a college. A college.
Okay. So what do you remember, Andrew? Anything?
He started with a program called, I think, ABC, and then worked his way up.
Yeah, it was ABC successful or not?
Not.
Okay. So okay, Hannah. So what do you remember about it?
So he like got a group of people and then like people critiqued the code and he just got a lot of people to improve the code and he just verified it.
Yeah, he had the last say because a lot of people get critics and provide the critics and then opinions what they wanted to have in the Python, and then he made the final decision on it. And Jack, do you want to contribute anything to the discussion? Jack?
I was going to say he worked on ABC.
Yep. Anything else?
He also worked on a project called Nebula.
Yes. So, he created a Python, and it was a scripting language. And we will talk about what is a scripting language. So let me move on to the next slide. I hope I can provide you more information on it. So Python is an interpreter. Why it is interpreted? That means the machine itself really does not know Python itself. You write the scripts, and the scripts actually is not compiled. Like a Java, you cannot run the Java code without compiling it. After you write the Java code, you compile it, all your Java code actually becomes bad code. And the computer can understand the bad code, right? So it can run it. For Python, it is written in English. Of course, it's not a plain English, but it's very straightforward. So it's a self-explanation. So that is why. So it's easier for people to gain that skill to understand it, and then you can easier to become a Python developer. The heavy lifting work is done by the interpreter itself. So the interpreter reads your code from top to the bottom, then translate it to something that the computer understands, then it will execute it. So you do not need to worry about that. Your work is just to write the scripts. For Java, after we write the script, we need to compile it. And then we use the compiled code to run it. And it is object-oriented. So a lot of languages are object-oriented. So we will talk about what is object-oriented. Put it in a simple sentence. It treats everything in the world as an object. Okay? It is a high-level programming language because human understands it. The computer itself, let me put it that way. So the lower you go, the more powerful the language is. This power is in a sense that you can manipulate more of the computer. Python, there are a lot of things you cannot do, right? You cannot manipulate the memory of the computer. And you cannot get into a lot of low-level computer things. If you do C, then you can manipulate the memory. So you have more power there. It's a high-level language. So it's built-in data structures combined with dynamic typing and dynamic bending. So why is dynamic typing and dynamic bending? If we do Java or we do C, no matter what you create, in the first place, you need to tell the system what this is. In the Python, no, you don't need to tell the system if it is in a floating number or it is an integer. You don't need to. Python is smart enough. It can understand what type this data is. So that's why it makes it very attractive for rapid application development. So that's why I say probably you only need to spend 4 days learning Python, and then you can be a good developer, right? And then let me show you the use of Python. You see, Python can be used in almost all professional areas. And this one is growing fast. Which one? Data analyzing, big data. That is also the area that Python take more and more as asset from Java, because it's very hard to deal big data in Java. Python do data analysis. It is as easy as a snap. So database access and scientific and numeric in analyzing, because a lot of library have been built, so you can directly use it. In the past, if you do machine learning, it's so hard. In the Python, when I taught the students in university, it's like 5 lines of code. And even you have a terabytes of data, 5 lines of code. And you can get a machine learning model, and just like that. Okay. So let me show you one of the several examples of Python. That's what we offer in our Python class. So when you move along with us, and when you get into level 4, level 5, and then we will do something like a Pygame, and they are developed using Python. And you see how the students do in the level 4, level 5 class. I will show you some of those examples, and then we will get into installation phase. Okay, let me see. It's weird. So what I'm loading is in the Python IDE. In the future, when we get into level 2, then we need to use an IDE tool to develop Python. So then, you know, I will help you download it. So let me go to the Butterfly first. So this is a Butterfly application. Just run it. Okay, you see there are not many code here for you to develop an application like this. It's a straightforward, but you get a game interface. This is an animated butterfly and with music. And then we needed to see this sprite application. Let me run it. So this is also just one image, and or it's in like 10 sprites. So you put them together using Python, so you can develop an animated game. And the last one, I think it is the highest one. It may not, you know, you need to get into level 5 to have this one. Let me see the chorus one. Let's see. This one. And let me run it. So this is a career scheme. Of course, we did not go into it too much, but it's a start for you guys. You know, when you get into level 5, when we do Python, so you can start the game, so you can race the car, right? So you see if we look flash into the car, and the game is over. So how can you, you know, do the scoring? How do you want to, you know, schedule the music, and also how do you know, do the timing? All the things put together, so you can in the future you can program a very good game for yourself using Python. So that's some examples down the road. If you move on, you can do. And then now I think let's just get into the installation. So these are our objectives. So we will learn the basic of Python programming, and then learn code block and the code flow. We will start code flow later in level 1. And then we will learn data structure, and then learn loop and the conditions. So this is how we do it. We do lecturing, and we also ask you guys do some small exercise during the class time, and we also have a quiz as well. I will give you homework. So that's the format. And now let's just prepare our computer. Can you all go to this website and download the Python? If you already have Python in your computer, that's good. If you do not, can you go there? So let me show you how it looks like. So let me go there. Okay, so if you are here, you click it download Python, and then you may get the most recent version by clicking on this one. It takes like a minute for you to download it. So after you download it, then we will install it. And I want you to do the customized install. So after you download it, if anyone wants to volunteer to share your screen, then I will use your screen to help the class moving on to the customized installation. Okay, so go ahead and download the Python. So do you guys have Python on your computer already, or you need to download it? Can you give me some feedback on it? You can just
Yeah.
chat it to me private.
I'm downloading Python.
Okay. So how about you, Angel?
I have it on my computer.
That's good. So how about you, Jack?
Downloading it.
Okay, so Hannah.
Yeah, same here. I'm downloading it.
All right. So Angel, you just have a short break there, and let's finish downloading. Then Arvin, do you want to share your screen so I can help? I can help you. Then we can move along as a class. Arvin, have you finished downloading?
I can show it now. It's downloading right now.
Okay, go ahead and share it. Are you using a Windows machine or in the MacBook?
I'm using Windows.
Good. That's good. So, oh, you are doing the installation already.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, okay, then you don't need to share. You already finished, almost finished the installation. Okay, you don't have to share. Thank you, Arvin.
Okay.
So, how about you? So, Jack, you started installing install it, or you're still waiting for download to finish?
I'm almost finished installing.
Okay, that's good. All right, I assume that you have finished downloading and installation. Yes, Arvin.
What do I do? Cause
You're good. You don't need to share. So you are good there. You are very good. You are already one step ahead of me. So keep this window, okay? Do not shut down this window. Keep it. So let me move on. So that's what we need. So let me move on to the next step then. So you see, this is installation, and after you install, you will see you have a Python folder. And you go to your Python folder. If you see the Python.exe file, double click on it. You're launching Python, right? So you go to your installation folder, and you will see Python, right? Your Python folder, then you double click on Python.exe. If you are using a MacBook, then the Python is installed by default. Okay, but you also need to launch Python. So do that, and then let me talk about it. Python. we already mentioned that Python is an open source high-level scripting language for general purpose programming. So as a scripting language, Python is interpreted. Python interpreter. So what is a Python interpreter? Here, let me go to my Python folder. And here, the python.exe, it is an interpreter. So you write your code here. So python.exe will read your code, interpret it, and then execute it. So I want every one of you get into this window. If you have a problem, let me know. You either raise your hand or speak up, or you send me a private chat. All right, so Arvin, you are already on this one, so we are good. Oh, Hannah, okay. So no rush. Today's goal is to get Python downloaded, installed. So we can wait. So after you get into this window, and we can type in scripts in this window. So let me show you, okay? So what I'm going to type in is that, can you guys type in this in your Python window? You say x equal to 6, y equal to 4, z equal to x minus y. Let me ask the system what is this. Arvin, can you tell me what z will be?
What? Because I was in the middle of coding.
Okay, let me hit enter.
Oh, I guess it's like x equals 6, then then the computer's like, when you're there, it's like when you type like x, then it's going to equal 6 and show up 6.
Okay, I hope that Jack and Andrea, can you go into your Python interpret window, type in those 3 lines of code, and then you ask the system what this value is. Okay, that's very good. So this pretty much, you know, is a Python interactive window. So every time you type in a line of scripts, you hit enter. The interpreter already executed that line of code. So you see the first line x equal to 6. So you tell the system x value is 6, y's value is 4, and then you do the math subtraction on x minus y, and you get the z. So you assign that value into variable z, and then you get it 2, okay? So that's very straightforward to us. Hannah, so what's your status now? Your Python is
Yeah,
finished
it's
downloading?
loaded.
So you started installation, right?
Yeah. I have it open now.
Okay. You just type in those scripts, and this is so straightforward. So not much to talk about it, but I have several things I wanted to mention. So let me move to the next slide then. So in Python, we already mentioned that it's in a dynamic typing, right? So I want you guys to try this. So you see, we say it's type insensitive. So you do not have to specify a type of an object or a variable. So here in our window, X is a variable, Y is a variable, Z is a variable, right? We never tell the system what type of variable it is. So X here looks like it's an integer. Y is also an integer. So let me do this. X now is 1.5. You see the computer does not complain. Though X was 6. X was 6. Now X is 1.5. It's fine. In Java, if you do this, your code will not compile because you already tell the system X is an integer. You cannot assign a double value to it, a double number to it. You cannot. It's a floating number. If X is an integer, then you cannot do that. But in the Python, it's okay. And even you see, if I use Y equal to 3 now, and I say Z equal to X plus Y, obviously, Y is still an integer. X is a floating number, but it does not give us trouble. So you still can do the calculation. So that is why we say it is a dynamic typing. Right? It's dynamic typing. All right. So let's move on to the next topic then. Please remember, Python is case sensitive. Of course, in Java, it's also case sensitive. A lot of language now is case sensitive. So that means uppercase and the lowercase are two different things. Just like your password, it's case sensitive. So even one character in your variable is of a different case, it will be a different variable. I think that's also straightforward. I think it's straightforward to Jack, Hannah, and Angel. So Arvin, if you have question, just let me know, okay? All right, so let me just move on. So why it is case sensitive? Now you know I have a lowercase z here. If I ask the system what is a capital Z, the system will give me an error. It doesn't know what is capital Z here. It doesn't know that because it's case sensitive. Lowercase z is different from an uppercase z. So you have not defined the uppercase z. So that's why. How do you do a comment in the Python? So you have two ways. One is a single line comment. You put the pound key in the very beginning, right? So let me do that. So I will say pound key z equal to x times y. So now let me ask the system, what is z? You see, z is still 4.5. Okay. So this example is not good. So let me do it again. Let me do okay. X minus y. Okay, now let me ask the system what is z. You see, z is still 4.5. That means if you put a pound key in the beginning of the line, that is a comment. The system will not execute it. the system just treat it as a comment. It will skip it, ignore it. And you can also put it in the middle of the line. You can do it this way, z equal to x minus y, and you will put something here. You do subtraction. Subtraction, okay, I spelled it wrong. All right, so you see from the pound key here, from the starting of the pound key to the end, will be the comment. But before that, it is still coded. So now if I go to hit my enter key, then I ask it, what is z? Z now becomes minus 1.5. So, you know, pound key will tell the system from here in this line, it is comment. It is comment. All right. Same thing, if you wanted to do multiple line of comments, you need to do 3 quotes. Put the 3 quotes in the beginning of the starting of the comments. Put the 3 quotes in the end. Once you finish typing all the comments, it can be multiple paragraphs. That is fine. So you just keep doing that. So let me just show you how to do it. So now let me say do 3. You can use a single quotes as well. And you see I hit enter, and the system is waiting for me to type in. I will say, this is a, all right, multi line typing comments. Right? And if I put a 3 quotes here, right? So the system will treat it as comments. Okay. So for multi-line comments, you just use 3 quotes in the beginning. You can use a single quotes, you can use double quotes. Okay. Do not mix them. Do not mix them. All right. So that's what I'm trying to talk about. Another thing here is very important in Python. A variable must be defined. How to define a variable in Python? You just give the variable name and assign a value to it, and that's it. Okay? So let me do this. Let me show you the example here. So the variable must be defined. If I say ABC, the system will complain. But if I say ABC equal to 5, the system is happy. Now if I say what is ABC, the system tells me the value of ABC. So you say the variable, you have to define it first. Then you can use it. How to define a variable? Just create a variable name and set it to a value. And that's it. Definition of a variable. Let me pause here. Does this make sense to you guys? That's it. Give me some feedback. I think this must be straightforward. So Angel, so all right, good. All right, so I think let me just move on. I may have just 1 slide or 2. So let me just go there. All right. This one is not that critical. You may not run into this at all in the future in our programming. When we do scripts, it will not happen this way. Just let you know here, okay? If you use underscore, underscore will represent the previous printed out value. So let me do this. X equal to 1. X equal to 2 plus 5. Now if you ask what is X, X becomes 7. Now you see X equal to 6 plus underscore. So what is X? X becomes 13 because the underscore represents the previous printed out value. Okay, so let me just do it again. Okay, I do X plus underscore, and I do it again, and I do it again. Tell me now what is X value? What is X value? Can you put your answer in the chat? You can send it to me privately if you want. So what will X value be? And if you type in, and then you get the result. So I will just ask you why. All right, Jack, you give me the value. So how about you, Angel? So what is the value? All right, Hannah, you give me a value. So Angel, can you tell me if you guess what it will be the X value? Okay, good. So Angel, why it is 19? Can you tell me why? Okay, so Jack, why it is 31? Okay, so let me just ask the system what is X. Okay, it is 19. Why it is 19? Because the underscore represents the last printout value. The last printout value is 13. So even you do 6 plus underscore multiple times, at that moment, underscores still represent 13. So that's why. But you know, you really don't need to worry about too much on this because it only happens in this interpret window. It will not happen in your IDE. Okay, so let me move on to the next slide. So let me give you this URLs. So I want you guys to, okay, this is how to install Python for Mac. I think we don't have problem in our class. Everyone get Python installed. And then also this is how to install Python in a Chromebook. And I can skip it. All right. So that's all I have for today. And we have a very good achievement today. We have a Python installed. So next week, I think when we start those, it will be very helpful to Angel, Jack, and Hannah. So often, if you do not get those, and do not worry about that, you just follow along, okay? Because some of them are high school math or middle school math, okay? So do not worry about that. That's fine. You just move, just follow along, okay? If you are curious, you want to ask a question, you can ask me anytime. But if I talk about something and you say, "Oh, what is that?" and you really do not get it, and leave it alone. Do not worry about that. Okay. All right. So let me stop here. Let me stop recording, and I'm going to return the class back to Miss He. See if she's here.